When the guard came up the hill, I was watching him from this position, and then when they got to the top of the hill, they turned and fired, and I saw...
The man who teaches the course on May 4th is sociologist Dr. Jerry M. Lewis, who gave me a tour of the site and pointed out the various positions of the National Guardsmen and students.
Give us a perspective from this point where you were standing initially to up there by the pagoda where the guard opened fire. How much distance we have?
Well, we're talking about 170, 180 yards from where they were fired. Remember, they were strung out across the hill, but that's about the distances we're talking about. Almost 2 football fields.
Lewis was standing in the parking lot when the shots rang out, and like others, he scrambled for cover under a hail of bullets. Without a doubt, it was this first-hand experience which has made Lewis one of the foremost authorities on the causes, emotions, and implications of May 4th and its aftermath.
I think the most interesting thing about my course is the research projects that our students do. I have one student studying a member of the Scranton Commission, which investigated Kent State. I have another student looking at what happened to the Kent 25, who were people arrested after in the fall of 1970. Of other people, I have one student doing an analysis of Nixon's Cambodian speech, who wrote it and the logic behind it, things like that.
Besides looking back, reconstructing the events, trying to determine causes, trying to fathom the logic and so forth, when you teach that course, do you try to take those elements and project into the future and learn lessons other than that which you can look at in the past?
Yeah, I try and do that in both my courses. I teach a course in collective behavior, which deals with crowd behavior, where I do that even more than I do in the May 4th course. My philosophy in the May 4th course is, by learning what happened here, students can't help but look for alternatives to that. And indeed, they say that to me and to people who talk to them about the course. And so, in the learning of the facts, they inevitably say, we must do better and look for alternatives.
15 years have gone by since those trying times, and the subject still comes up in books, articles, TV news stories, and documentaries. Many times the question is asked, could it happen again? It was immediately following the shootings that the university formed the Center for Peaceful Change. It is a place where peace studies are coordinated, a place where we can learn how to change our society for the better in a peaceful manner. Dr. Dennis Carey is the center's director.
And essentially the purpose or the mission is well explained by its very title, Peaceful Change. That's the thrust of what you try to do.
Precisely. The notion that our society is existing in an ever more interdependent world, and that one needs to adapt to that world as it changes, really means that you're going to be involved constantly now in change, social change. The question is not then, will you change, but how? And hence the title Peaceful Change, of course, is a value statement. We would rather see the social change take place in a nonviolent way. Then what we do is to look, first of all, at the history of human beings who have, in fact, been able to create peaceful change in this or other societies. And therefore we look at a Gandhi, a Martin Luther King, so on, to try to recognize the elements that were utilized by them to create that kind of social change, and try to bring those into modern-day contexts and ask ourselves, well, could we use those? Is there other ways that human beings today living in this society can still generalize from those previous experiences?
May 4th, 1970 will always stand out. Do you use that as an object lesson?
We do, but along with a human history filled with May 4ths. That is, the events and record of protests against wars, social movements for human rights, today, even the record we've established in our own society of average citizens demonstrating on behalf of our environment, makes it a May 4th only one of a whole pattern of events, some that turned out very well and others which were as tragic as May 4th.
The story of May 4th, 1970 really stretched out over more than 8 years. Criminal and civil litigation began almost as soon as the gunfire had stopped. But the trials and retrials didn't end until 1979, when an out-of-court settlement awarded the wounded students and their heirs a total sum of $675,000 from state funds. In addition, the 28 defendants signed a statement, one line of which perhaps best summed up the incident. The tragedy of May 4th, 1970 should not have occurred.
After the out-of-court settlement was reached, some people said that the agreement by you and many others involved in that lawsuit to accept essentially the apology and the cash payment was a cop-out, that it let the federal boys get themselves out of the way, it let the state buy itself out of responsibility. Was it a convenient cop-out? Was it a necessary action?
Not at all. What we were looking for was, in the very beginning, was to get an apology from the folks that shot us. Secondly, to get laws changed so that there wouldn't be this very readily available use of power to do things and abuse. We wanted to get them to recognize, first of all, that they shot us. That was a big hurdle, and that they shouldn't have shot us. And fourthly, to get a situation where we've got as much information on the record as we possibly can, so that we have a written record of what happened there, and we have people on record saying that they did this and we did that, and so that we can have something for the historians to go to now, as opposed to waiting till 75 years from 1970 so that historians can go take a look at it then. And I think we achieved that, and I feel very good about it. It wasn't a cop-out. We weren't after money. I mean, if we were after money, we would have held out for the $40 million that was the whole total sum of the lawsuit. In essence, they gave us a few dollars out of the goodness of their own heart. I don't see anything wrong with what we did. I thought it was good that we were able to achieve exactly what we set out to get.
It is the recognition of the May 4th event which has come up often during the past 15 years, and it wasn't until January 23rd of this year that the university finally consented to the design and construction of an official memorial near the site of the shootings. The actual design is yet to be determined.